We got Dr. Bob Sheppard with us today. And Bob, tell me about one of the toughest shots you ever had to make on a deer with a bow.
Oh, mercy. I climbed up in a stand one morning on the edge had a slough on one side and a little ditch coming out toward it and a thicket on the other side. And I had a really nice 8 point. Came down out of the thick place, but he was over behind a bunch of stuff, and I couldn't get a shot at him when he was the closest to me. By the time he got to a big swamp chestnut tree that I couldn't see from where I was sitting, he got in there behind it and he went round and around. He fed round and around that tree for the better part of 2 hours. It began to get time where I knew I was going to have to climb down, and the deer was about 55 yards from me, and I felt like I could shoot my bow well enough to hit him at 55 yards, but there was a limb in the way. There was a single limb about halfway between me and where the deer was that was sticking out, and I could see him through that limb, but all of his moving around that tree, he stayed consistently behind that limb. Well, I sat there for a while and finally got to thinking, I shoot a light bow, as you know, about 45 to 50 pounds, and so my arrows are naturally going to arch a bit. I got to thinking, if I aim straight through that limb at the deer's chest, my arrow's going to have to rise probably the better part of a foot and a half. It ought to go over that limb. So I drew the bow, put the pin on the deer, had plenty of time. I was relaxed. He didn't know I was in the world. I held the pin on him, and when I released, it looked like it was going 10 feet over his back. But it arched over that limb, fell in there, and dropped right straight into his chest, and he ran about 30 yards and fell over. Never sat there for 2 hours watching him feed, never thought I was going to get a shot at him.
Oh, that's great.